It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
June 14th, 2019, 8 a.m. CET. Good morning, Piotr here, and this is the pre-London Open live market coverage on Light Forex Global YouTube channel. Let's start with risk warning, guys. Please bear in mind, trading FX on margin, trading crypto on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors. You can sustain a loss of some or all your initial investment. So please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. Seek education, gain experience before risking real money. However, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. All right. Boring Tokyo session. Boring Tokyo session. Nothing extraordinary, but we are going to check weekly charts because end of the week. So we are going to go through few weekly charts. But before we start with charts, what we have 8:45 within the next 45 minutes. We are going 8:45 a.m. CET. We are going to get the French final CPI news. Then looks like within the next hour there is a schedule for some Chinese data like industrial production, retail sales, unemployment rate, fixed asset investment. First time I can see that is at that time, so it would be good to confirm with different calendar. But anyway, it's I would say it's worth to remember about that. Then 2:30 we do have 2:30 p.m. CET we do have US retail sales, and you are more than welcome to join me 2:15. We are going to cover this retail sales data live today here on Light Forex Global YouTube channel. Yeah, it's something unusual. We don't do meetings on Friday afternoon, but this time it's a retail sales ahead of the FOMC next week. It's worth to check, right? 25 minutes later, 2:55 p.m. CET, Bank of England Carney speaks, so it's worth to watch British pound, especially that over the course of the last few days we had few hawkish Bank of England members talking. So yeah, the pound was trying to catch up and trade the long side with this hawkish statements. Then we do have 3:15 p.m. CET, capacity utilization rate, industrial production from the US, and at 4 p.m. CET, the preliminary University of Michigan consumer sentiment. So at least, if we need the good excuse for the move, we are going to get that during the New York session. Nothing extraordinary, but retail sales and industrial production might move the market at least a bit. All right. Okay, so let's start. Let's start with weekly euro dollar chart. All right. So what happened here? And it's quite important ahead of the FOMC, ahead of the end of the Q2, right? What happened? All right, first thing first, we have to remember about late April price action with this breakdown and new 2019 weekly low at the end of the week, so weekly close, right? New low. Then next week we're trying to get out above 1242 again and again and again. 3 weeks in a row we were not able, or bulls were not able to push prices higher above 1250, right? Then we tried in that case lows again, some stop hunt, and finally last week rally. Now the thing is, it might be very important day today, all right? It might be very important day today. Now why? I think, and that's what I'm gonna to do right now, I'm going to move a bit the blue line related to the weekly chart. 1242. Now why it might be important, all right? Okay, because we have a FOMC next week, right? What we are going to have here, it might be crucial from both bulls and bears perspective. This breakout to the upside happened last week, right? Is of course positive. Is of course positive. The only thing is that there is no continuation. Come on, right? So in that case, we know the bears are still active here, and the key today, as it's end of the week, key today is going to be the high and the open from that particular week when we made new yearly low, right? We went above last week. It might be just test. It might be just test, right? So break to the upside, retest, right? In that case, if that's correct, so we are talking about the bullish scenario right now. If that's correct, we have to hold on a weekly basis. I'm talking about the last tick. We have to hold above this, right? This was also post non-farm payrolls breakout, right? So we are talking the bullish scenario, and we hit that level yesterday. Now the price action after we hit that level, right, from the bulls perspective, it's not great. It was like dead cat bounce. Now, to be honest with you, I thought that the first approach is going to be to show that a little bit different reaction. Anyway, I do expect price action to the downside to test this demand again, right? So I think that the yesterday low is going to be taken out. Then 1260. Then bottom of this demand. Intraday demand. And then the bottom from the weekly, what we discussed, 1240 key psychological level here. All right. So let's get back to the weekly. So what bulls may try to do, they may invite sellers right now. So we might see this 1240 being tested, but bulls in that case would be good to see the close above, even better to see lower shadow here and close much higher towards weekly open or even above weekly open, right? That would be good from the bulls perspective. Now let's talk about the bears. Overall, the minimum what bears need here is a close, weekly close below 1240, right? So bears need to try to get back inside this previous consolidation, right? So that's what is needed from the bear's perspective. Get back into that consolidation. But that's gonna be just half, in my opinion. We need to take out the previous week low based on a weekly close, right? That's going to confirm that all we've seen here, it was nothing else like some kind of the squeeze. So it's a bears are under pressure, mostly because of the expectations related to the FOMC next week. All right. So yeah, I'm very curious what we are going to see. It's good that we are covering retail sales live later today. I think we are going to get some answers. Anyway, so let's switch to daily, and that's non-farm payrolls day. That's non-farm payrolls day, and we are fighting with the opening level of that day. All right, crucial. Once we are going to get the close below, that might be enough for bears. If you remember the same action, if you remember what was the, on which time frame we have it, yeah, it was here on a daily. If you remember, we had similar price action on pounds, right? Breakout candle, close below opening level, attempt, gave up, boom, right? So we are talking about the very similar situation here on euro dollar. So what was the weekly, what was this Friday open? 1275. If we are going to get the close below on a daily chart, oh, of course today is end of the week, so it's gonna affect weekly as well, but I'm going to watch for all this lower shadow from the last Friday, right? It was the retest of this negative candle from Wednesday, and we are below again the highs over here. So intraday price action, we are where we are. What I'm gonna to look for, I'm going to look for 1260, 1240 and the price action around here. My first long attempt, as because of this breakdown yesterday, right? Because of this breakdown yesterday, there was the rally into that supply, right? So that supply being tested already. So what I'm looking for as a bull, I'm looking for attempt to break 1260 and any kind of the price action over here towards 2060, 2040 with the move back above. That might be my long setup. Something like, I don't know how deep we are going to go, but if we are going to have quick reversal, that's gonna be my long intraday long setup. All right. On the other hand, I know where the stops resides, so I know my targets for this long, right? What about shorts? I think there is no rush to try to short it, and as we discussed yesterday, 1220 levels around the weekly open. Right? I don't want to be trapped ahead of the weekend with shorts. So any bigger spike for me, it's something I'm interested in case of trying to be on the short side here, right? Again, very narrow range for now. We are talking about upside 1220 13.20, 13.50, to the downside 12.60, 12.40. Okay, that's how I see the things on euro dollar. Pound dollar, weekly chart. For quite some time I've been talking about the pound from the positive perspective. Still quite positive towards the pound. The only thing is that I don't like what is going on right now. Right? So unless we are going to close above the weekly open with another positive body, so that might work well and be positive for next week. Right? And in case we are going to take out yearly open, we are talking about the 2750, guys, 2750ish, very important, and we are discussing this level, this zone for some time already. In case bulls are going to be able to take out 2750ish, right, it might help with rally towards 2920, right, towards 2920 at least. Of course, depends on the market situation we are going to have. It might be good idea to try to trade pound via euro, maybe Swiss franc if the sentiments prevail, positive sentiments prevail, or maybe Canadian dollar. All of this been discussed this week a few times already. So how does it look from the smaller time frame? There is a problem right now for bulls when we are talking about the price action, the range we've seen last Friday. Very similar situation to what we have on other dollar crosses. So we are talking about the 26.82 as a psychological level, right? Because it's the bottom of that candle, and yesterday closed below, may suggest all we've seen last Friday, it was the short accumulation, right? Because what? Because we are testing this 80 from the low right now. So bulls definitely have to run away as soon as they can, as fast as they can from here. Otherwise we are going to revisit the range which has been created at the late May, 30th of May, right? This candle over here. In that case, we are talking about the high 2640 and open 2625. That's the next possible demand for the pound. That's how I see the things here. So let's switch lower to the hourly, where we are. If you can see the blue line here, right, it's related to the weekly chart. So it's a possibility here, the last chance for bulls in my opinion, ahead of the London Open, it's to try to hold this over under we created yesterday. There was a rally after the first attempt, right? So retest, another over under, smaller. Bulls should keep it alive and should move above 80 as soon as they can. Why? Because at 80 we have supply here right now, right? So the worst thing for bulls is to try to go higher right now during the first hour of the Frankfurt session, ending that hour with upper shadow. And I'm pretty sure the bears will try to take the advantage of that. Okay. So we are right now is a line in the sand for pound. I'm not going to look for short pound on the any other cross, only versus USD. So I'm watching this current price action, and if the 26.8085 holds around the London Open, and if we are going to get any kind of the upper shadow, some kind of the sign that the supply is active. Late New York supply over here as a key right now, as you can see. So I might try to trade tiny short pound, right? But only versus dollar. I don't want to be short pound versus euro or any other cross. Okay. So if we are talking about the pound, so let's have a look what we have from the higher time frame on euro pound. If you do remember, we were discussing euro pound from the quarterly perspective, right? That's how it looks right now, taking into consideration first 6 months of 2019. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit higher levels on the euro pound, right? But what I would like to see from higher time frame perspective, upper shadow, that will confirm the bears may want to take over, and that might confirm a stronger pound in the coming days. But we still have 2 weeks into the quarter end. From the short-term perspective, so I'm going to remove what we were trying to visualize yesterday. We can always get back into that. All right, so what is going on right now, currently on the euro pound? We have this base here, right? From where we went lower. And we're trying to retest that level. We are creating upper shadow here. So from medium term perspective, if you are a bear, medium term perspective, if you are a bear, you want to see where we are going to close this week, right? In case we are going to close below previous week close, right, it might be the chance we are going to create, we will try to create swing high over the course of next week, right? So then last week high, this week high as a possible supply. But in that case, it's a weekly chart. Wait, be patient. Don't try to be front runner from the medium term perspective. Wait for a weekly close, right? I'm pretty sure market is going to be open on Monday, so we are going to have a chance. Now daily, and it's very interesting here. I'm going to record video. I'm going to record the video. But anyway, we have two dojis here, right? The most common strategy related to the doji candle is to try to trade into the direction of the first break, right, with the stop below. I'm using this a little bit different. I'm waiting for the attempt to break, attempt to first break, then I'm giving 5 period, in that case it would be 5 days, to reverse the course, to quickly lose the momentum. I'm going to record the video in relation to that strategy, right? Explain a few details. So in that case, I would like to see attempt to break higher with rejection within the next 5 days, right? Very narrow range, looks like I thought it's all about the pound, but it's not. It looks like it's all about the dollar right now. I thought that because of this hawkish comments from the Bank of England members, because of what is going on with the new Prime Minister situation right now, that it's gonna be all about the pound. It's not, right? And we have evidence here that last 2 days it was not about the pound, it was about the dollar, because we were moving on the pound USD and we are almost flat on euro pound, right? But still, switching to the lower time frame, still from the intraday perspective, I'm looking to sell euro pound, right? And it looks like I had a once this week, I missed the second, but it looks like every attempt to go higher starts from Tuesday after this failure at the high. So any sell Riley's strategy worked well, right? on the euro pound. We had a Swiss National Bank rate decision yesterday. There was a I've been buying dips on USD Swiss franc, and nothing has changed, right? I'm still looking to buy the dip on the USD Swiss franc. Still, first target something around yesterday high. The second target is around the parity. Once we are going to close above parity 10030, we might open 103, 103.50 on the dollar Swiss franc. So that's what I'm gonna to look for here. And we were discussing this yesterday, right? So we are holding well. There was an attempt to go lower after the decision, but we ended up with lower shadow, right? And all this around the previous base over here on daily. Okay, similar situation is on the pound Swiss franc. I would like to see 25-24 from the medium term perspective. We are currently around 26. I would like to see stop hunt towards 25, maybe 24, and as long as we are on a daily close above 24, it's positive. All right. From the currency perspective, last one, dollar yen, and probably that's just the ugliest dollar chart right now, in my opinion. All right, bulls are not able to push prices higher. Maybe retail sales, maybe industrial production in tandem are gonna be some good excuse, right? But yeah, 108 still under pressure. If you are going to get the close below 770, the things might get uglier, right? Anyway, we are as a bulls still trying to fight and hold the lows from the very beginning of the January after this spike down, right? And we are right here right now. The first supply is higher towards 109.30. Another supply is based on the price action we've seen in the mid of May here on the weekly chart, and I'm going to move it higher just in case. Okay, so it's a ugly chart right now. We might see a little bit longer such a price action, right? The only thing is that we have FOMC next week, and that might be definitely to be or not to be for bulls here. That's my way of thinking. So we might see either break lower from that flag, right? What is needed from the bulls perspective to try to close this week higher than the 50% of what we've seen 2 weeks ago to create the swing low here, right? So as I mentioned, might be good excuse, might be good argument after the retail sales or industrial production to try to push it higher, right? So trying to summarize dollar yen, bears are good towards 109.30, 109.50, 109.75. That's the whole supply over here, right? From the medium term perspective, you want to see the rally, and eventually if you are a bear, you want to sell into rally, right? If you are a bull, fingers crossed that we will be able first to move above weekly open 108.47 and move higher, much higher, to try to take into the consideration the price action we've seen 2 weeks ago and close 50% above. We are talking in that case about the low here. I'm going to remove this possibility of the channel, and we have this here, okay? So plenty of lines based on the weekly chart, and looks like the wall of possible supply on dollar yen. That might be, we have similar situation with Bitcoin, that might be, you know, positive at some point from the bull's perspective. Anyway, very narrow last 2 weeks, so let's have a look this afternoon if we are going to get something based on the retail sales and industrial production. Nasdaq looks like after huge reversal we've seen last week, right? Bulls are tired a bit. All right, so there is a creation of the upper shadow right now, but to be honest with you, I missed something here. I think that we still are going to take out, maybe not this week, maybe next week, we are going to take out the stops from the mid-May on the weekly. We are talking about 7,626, right? This over here, to retest the low from the late April price action on the weekly. This lower shadow, when we broke through, we didn't on a weekly, it hasn't been retested, right? It's gonna be over under creation as well. In that case, under, right? We discussed this on the daily, but this time it might work as well on a weekly. But of course, from the bull's perspective, this upper shadow doesn't look good. We are very close to the weekly open, so bulls have to find any kind of the excuse to try to push prices higher, right? Bears, because of where we are right now, will try to take the opportunity and push prices lower to try to close the week with negative body, so below the weekly open, all right, to negate the positive sentiment we have at the very beginning of the week because of the agreement with Mexico. Daily chart here is not bad. We reacted yesterday where we were supposed to react. I'm talking about the range from the 21st of May. We discussed it yesterday, right? From here we went lower, we broke through this neckline, all right, here. So yesterday, lower shadow, we did it and we held it. So the key, yesterday low. Okay, that's the key level. Line in the sand for bulls and bears, based on what we've seen and here on the 21st of May and yesterday price action. Okay, that's it from me this morning. Don't be trapped during the London session. You are more than welcome to join me 2:15 p.m. CET. We are going to cover live retail sales from US. Thank you very much. Have a good London session and see you around.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.